Let's go Mike Harris right here. Mike's next, and then Mike Mulhern.
Hello. Yeah, Mike Harris, RacingToday.com. Hi, Jeff. Just going into the chase, over the years, you've had some success in the chase, but it hasn't necessarily been your best showings. At this point, do you approach the races in the chase differently than you do during the regular season, and if so, how?
Not really. I think that we've been approaching them with everything we've got, and we've been very successful. We've been running good, leading laps, winning races, and why would you want to change that? I think the only thing is, that every team goes about it maybe a little bit differently, but everybody knows that when the chase comes, you gotta step up a notch. And the way you do that is maybe you have planned out brand new race cars coming at the end of the season. Maybe the engine shop finds a little bit more horsepower. Just everything fresh and ready to go. You give your crew chief gives a Vince Lombardi speech, heading into the chase. And just those types of things that just motivate you and get you pumped up that much more. And so I think that there's very little other than that we're doing different, right now. Obviously, Chicago was not a very good weekend for us, and we missed it there. But we're going to go back. We're going to come into this race doing the same thing we did the last time we're here, and this is a good track for us. And then we see where we end up out of here and go to the next one. But we are by no means anywhere close to being out of this thing just because of Chicago not being a good race.
Go ahead, Mike.
Mike Muller, MikeMuller.net. I'm old school and you're old school, and we both know the gas mileage is not NASCAR racing. Now, 1 or 2 a year might be fine, but every other week is a little over the top. So we need to figure out a way to solve that problem. I don't know if it's softer tires or tires that give up or bumpers that don't line up so you guys can knock each other out of the way and spin out or something like that. Have you talked to Stu Grant about next year's tires? And if not, what do you plan to recommend to Brian or Mike or about how to get rid of these gas mileage finishes?
Yeah. That's a good question.
It's not NASCAR racing, like we've done for 60 years.
It's not probably preferable, but again, it depends on how exciting of a finish it is. I think sometimes if somebody's able to make it and others aren't, I think that can be pretty exciting. It's a heck of a challenge. Plus, who's to say the caution doesn't come out and really, wind things up even more? Go, wow, that was a lot of drama. So, to me, as long as it's an exciting race to the finish, the problem is when it goes all the way to the finish and it's somewhat predictable, then it's not very exciting. But I don't know. There's a lot of guys running out of fuel last week, and I don't think anybody really knew who was going to make it. Maybe they did with Tony and the guys up front. But how do you fix it? I don't know. We went to smaller fuel cells, and it seems like that hasn't done it. I'm not so sure that bigger ones aren't better. and then you've got a point with the tires. I feel like Goodyear every year continues to improve the tires as we get the cars handling better. And get some of the weight shifted off the right side of this car. Since its inception, it's been hard on right side tires. We get some of that weight shift to the left side. It allows them to start softening up some compounds and create a little bit more tire wear. And I definitely think that's a good thing. So it's a fine line, obviously, for Goodyear. I think they want that to happen, but they also don't want to have tire failures. So they have to be very careful. We abused a right front last week. We talk about Bristol. We went to Bristol with, I think, the right tire for the race earlier in the year, but they had to pull it because they were seeing excessive wear, and they couldn't take that chance going in the race, even though I think it would have been fine in the race. So they're in a tough position, but it's a combination of working with the teams, NASCAR, and the tire manufacturer to make the car and the racing and the tire best it can be. And I think we continue to do that.
Go ahead, Reed, and then we'll go over to Ed.
Reed Spencer with Sporting News. The new rules at Talladega, most guys have said that they don't think that's going to stop the two-car pushing, just might make it more difficult to do it for sustained lengths of time. But that being the case, does it create a potentially awkward situation if you've got a teammate who's in the chase that you're working with and or either have to push or be pushed by that teammate that you're competing against for the championship?
I don't have to worry about that situation. I got Mark Martin, so I'm pretty excited about Talladega.
So you'll look for somebody that's not in the chase.
Well, look for somebody that I worked with already this year. I mean, Mark and I have practiced it already and have experience at it, and almost won the race in Talladega the last time. And I think it is a plus that we're both not competing in the championship together. That certainly helps us decide who's going to be leading and who's not. Although a second is like a win at Talladega. So if I'm pushing him this time instead of him pushing me, I'll be fine with that also. I don't anticipate the rule changes changing much. I'm not in favor of swapping more. I know that a lot of people don't like us running nose to tail like that, but it's far more dangerous doing more swaps. It causes far more chances to have crashes when you're swapping, especially at the end of that race where you're in the middle of a pack and all of a sudden two cars just swap. So I'd rather us not have to swap. I think the racing would be better and it'd be safer. The restrictor plate will make it interesting. I'm hoping that has more of an impact than anything else. I'm not so sure we're even still going to need to swap. We're probably just going to have to move the nose out further to get more air to the radiator, which we'll have to work on that in practice.
Go ahead, Ed.
Ed Hinton, ESPN.com again. Jeff, just to follow up on something you said a while ago that you're not so sure maybe bigger fuel cells weren't better. Might it be that to go back to the 22-gallon fuel cell, I mean, somebody said, well, all you're doing is out there turning more and more laps without a caution or whatever, but would a 22-gallon cell not at least give y'all an opportunity to be running at power on the racetrack and at least give more window for something to happen to?
Here's the thing. It all just comes down to cautions. It just when the caution falls. It doesn't matter if you have a 5-gallon fuel cell or a 55-gallon fuel cell. If the caution doesn't come out, then it's a fuel mileage race.
Yeah.
So that's what we need to go back and look at is what's creating less cautions. Because what we've typically had in the past is when you get down to the end of the race, the caution is coming out. And when the caution comes out, that's the other thing is the caution came out and put everybody right near their window. Some of them it put in their window, others it put them just outside their window, and so that's what it came down to. I think that, if NASCAR doesn't want to see it come down to fuel mileage, then let us run a little longer under caution before they open up the pits. That'll solve that.
Well, going to the thing about cautions, like Kyle Busch was in here earlier saying, well, these cars are harder to spin out than the old cars were. They're not. They just don't tend to spin as much. Somebody else said, well, you can abuse the tires longer now and just wear them out.
Well, the pace doesn't slow down as much. I will tell you that. That Goodyear is building, a really good tire that doesn't wear out, and unless you go to Atlanta, some of these very abrasive racetracks, the tires are just they're working really well, and they don't give up a lot of speed or grip, and so you're able to maintain a pretty good pace. And Chicago was a rare situation. It was cool track temperature, which only makes the grip better, and the speed's faster. So it made it harder to pass as well as harder to spin out. And somebody possibly bring out that caution. We've got the cars driving pretty good right now. We've got a lot of downforce in these cars, so that's some of it as well. I think combination of the downforce that we've been able to find in the cars by the skew and all those things that you're seeing out there, and the team's just doing their jobs, engineering the cars to get them to stick better. And Goodyear's got a really good tire too. So until you go to a track like Atlanta, that's just extremely abrasive, then you're not going to see as many cautions.
So it basically boils down to like what you were saying to Mulhern a while ago. Good question. There's really not a simple answer to this anywhere in sight in the foreseeable future. Right?
Well, and I shouldn't be the one to come up with it. I'm not an engineer. I'm only a race car driver. So there's smarter people that I could consult with to tell them what I think as a driver. But I think that there are other people that probably could resolve it better than I could.
Got time for one more. Anybody that hasn't had a question, been able to ask a question today, have a question? Okay. Jeff, you covered the bases. Thank you. Good luck this weekend.
Appreciate it.